Lancaster Bureau of Police lost an officer last year after he took his own life. The chief says that loss hit the department really hard, and it changed how it looks at mental health. The lights, the sirens, the tape. It's what you and I see. What first responders see, smell, and hear may never go away.
Just watching what they do in an autopsy to 4 children, one being the same age as my daughter, you know, it was just kind of a gut punch.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and it was, so there, you know, and as we're talking about it, I can smell the smoke, you know, what it smelled like in the fire scene.
Flashback to August 22nd, 2003. Officers respond to an arson on East Chestnut Street in Lancaster. 4 children dead.
And it was a homicide. So I ended up spending 3 full days in the crime scene.
It wasn't Jared Berkeheiser's first time seeing trauma either. Now chief for Lancaster Bureau of Police, Berkeheiser spent his first 10 years processing violent crimes.
I was in a dark place in 2003, and it wasn't just one incident that did it. What I found out was it was a culmination of multiple incidents over, you know, several years.
Doctors diagnosed him with post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD develops in some people who experience a shocking, scary, or dangerous event. Many people who are diagnosed suffering from flashbacks and bad dreams, avoiding places and events where they could be reminded of the traumatic experience. They'll be easily startled, could have angry outbursts or difficulty sleeping. Many lose interest in activities they once loved, or feel badly about themselves and the world.
It can cause depression, it can cause anxiety. I experienced pretty vivid dreams of calls that I was on.
Meet Joe Carr. Different guy, different profession, but a similar diagnosis.
I didn't even really know. I didn't really realize that I had PTSD and depression. And there were some things happened in my life and it made me realize it.
33 years attempting to save lives as a paramedic for Lancaster EMS.
The heroin epidemic was kind of a flare-up of it, if you will, just because of you know, the death of a lot of young people in, you know, the course of you know, a year or two.
What they are seeing on a regular basis is not normal. We're responding to situations that would absolutely terrify, you know, a regular member of the public, or completely devastate them if they saw some of the carnage that we've seen.
According to Blue Help, a nonprofit organization run by active and retired police officers, at least 167 police officers took their own lives in 2018. That's not counting what went unreported. In comparison, 163 police officers died in the line of duty. That's according to the Officer Down Memorial page.
A lot of police departments hide the fact that a member committed suicide, or they just, you know, they say they died unexpectedly. They don't talk about, you know, what had happened or that it was suicide.
2018 marked the first time Berkeheiser says the Bureau of Police truly began tackling its own mental health issues. Heartbreak hitting the department. A 19-year veteran with the force, 43-year-old patrol officer Mark Guerin takes his own life.
Because I'm not doing anything to remember Mark by covering that up. You know, it doesn't help, and we have to hit it head on. And it was the first time here that we absolutely acknowledged it and people talked about it more.
Berkeheiser wants his officers to do the same. In fact, he did that, asking for help.
So for a period of time, for about maybe 3 years, you know, I didn't go to any crime scenes involving children.
Berkeheiser says first responders should talk to their family, friends, co-workers, even a therapist.
We're normal people. We put on our pants one leg at a time, just like everybody else. So, you know, and to get first responders to understand that what they are seeing on a regular basis is not normal.
He says it's important for first responders to know it's okay to not be okay, and then ask for help. I'm Grace Griffithton, Fox 43 News. For first responders, it's constantly out the door and on to the next emergency.
Over a 30, 40, sometimes 50-year career in a volunteer service, you could potentially see hundreds of people dead.
I kind of think it's a sponge, you know, you continue to just drink all that in, and at some point you're going to fill up.
You just want to go home and decompress, and you just want to forget about what you saw sometimes. And that's tough, because then tomorrow comes along and you're going to see some of the same stuff all over again.
We see everything, everything that's going to happen medically in the world, from birth through death.
Violent crimes, painful injuries, and deadly fires.
People call 911 for everything, and we're going to be there, and we're going to see it.
Sometimes they're left with more questions than answers. Did the person make it? Did we do everything right?
You have those calls where you think, was I not at my best today?
You may relive things that, could I have done something different?
And those ones are the ones that linger.
I relive last year almost a daily basis.
March 22nd, 2018. It's a day York City Fire Chief Chad Deerdorf will never forget. A scorching fire burns bright in York. The building collapses. The York City Fire Service losing not one, but two comrades in the line of duty. Ivan Flanshaw and Zachary Anthony making the ultimate sacrifice. It was the first time since 1971 for the White Rose City.
That's a constant reminder of, hey, we need to continue to be aggressive. We need to continue to do our job, but we also have to remember bad things happen in our job. It's an inherently dangerous job, and that thought in my mind has been very helpful for me.
I've got a few skeletons in the closet that kind of bother me like that. Over 20 years, you start to kind of think about those things.
As Director of Operations for Lancaster EMS, Jerry Schramm has seen his fair share of trauma.
I had one call where a father choked on a chicken bone and fell face down in a doorway. And he was an obese gentleman, wide as a doorway, and I physically couldn't move him. And I remember standing there waiting with all the capabilities of saving this person, and I heard, is my dad going to be okay? And there's a 7-year-old kid asking me.
Swearing he wouldn't let that happen again.
Since that point, I use that exercise room every day. I swore to myself there's never going to be a person I can't move, there's never going to be a person I can't lift. And to this day, there's nobody I can't move 3 feet to be able to make that difference.
Survivor's guilt is when someone feels guilt after surviving a life-threatening situation when other people did not. People who suffer from survivor's guilt can also experience symptoms of post-traumatic stress, including difficulty sleeping, flashbacks, even thoughts of suicide.
It's tough, but I think talking about it, it's just getting things off your chest, talking particularly to peers who understand what you're going through.
Besides connecting with others, experts say it's important for first responders to accept and allow those feelings that surface.
You know, there's always those calls out there where, if we did something different, would the outcome have been different? So I mean, we're in this business because we care.
And because they care, some of those calls haunt and inspire our first responders. I'm Grace Griffiton, Fox 43 News.
Each of us experiences our own trauma, critical incidents that shake up our world, like the death of a pet or even a parent. First responders, though, they see those things every day.
County from 798.
One of the biggest stumbling blocks for us in seeking help is the fact that people call us for help.
Chief Jared Berkeyheiser with Lancaster Bureau of Police says they're the superheroes, the problem solvers, the investigators who catch the bad guys when it comes to actually talking about what they see and hear.
We're at 2446 Rudy Road. Said they made contact.
A lot of our officers are very protective of their families, so what they see here and do here, they may not take home and talk to their spouse about.
On top of that, police officers may not even talk to each other when something is bothering them.
We might think of each other or look at each other as less than, a police officer because we can't fix the problem.
Fear of looking weak or being reported to a superior, or even the fear of being misunderstood.
They expect maybe they'll get a negative reaction or a shocking reaction. The problem is there aren't enough mental health providers out there that have that experience.
Like Dr. Kenneth Ralph, who specializes in therapy for first responders, overseeing Lancaster County's critical incident stress management program.
The thing that we do in our debriefings is we make it safe and easy for the first responders to talk about things they don't want to talk about.
Dr. Ralph and a team of volunteers are called in during those especially emotional situations when the stress may be too much.
They begin to understand that what they're experiencing is not abnormal, that it's a normal experience to an abnormal situation.
Opening up about what they saw, felt, and thought.
What's really neat is usually, almost always, the other members will support them. You did the right procedure, or there was no way to save this person.
Besides Lancaster, many counties in our area have their own critical incident stress management teams or similar programs in place. As for other forms of support, Chief Bergeheiser says it's important for his officers to seek it sooner rather than later, even pushing leadership at the Bureau to work with the officers when it comes to their mental health needs.
Somebody comes to you, let's do what we can to make the accommodations because we invest so much into this person. So if we're not doing everything we possibly can to make them successful or help them be successful in their job, and mental health being one of them, then we're failing them.
For first responders, the resources are there. It's as simple as seeking them. I'm Grace Griffithton, Fox 43 News.